Shalom and welcome to Who is Yahuah. Thank you for joining me as we gather today's portion from the scriptures. Today's reading is Barashyth, Genesis, chapters 30 through 31. Barashyth, Genesis, chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she bore no children to Yaqab, she envied her sister and said to Yaqab, "Give me children, or else I die." Yaqab's anger burned against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in Elohim's place, who has withheld the fruit of the womb from you?" She said, "Behold, my servant Bala'ah, go into her, that she may bear on my knees, and I also may have children by her." She gave him Bala'ah, her servant, as a wife, and Yaqab went into her. Bala'ah conceived and bore Yaqab a son. Rachel said, "Elohim has judged me, and has also heard my voice, and has given me a son." Therefore she called his name Dan. Bala'ah, Rachel's servant, conceived again, and bore Yaqab a second son. Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and have prevailed." She named him Naphtali. When La'ah saw that she had finished bearing children, she took Zalphah, her servant, and gave her to Yaqab as a wife. Zalphah, La'ah's servant, bore Yaqab a son. La'ah said, "How fortunate!" She named him God. Zalphah, La'ah's servant, bore Yaqab a second son. La'ah said, "Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed." She named him Ashar. During the days of the wheat harvest, Laban went and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them to his mother, La'ah. Then Rachel said to La'ah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." She said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" Rachel said, "Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes." Yaqab came from the field in the evening, and La'ah went out to meet him and said, "You must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes." He lay with her that night. Elohim listened to La'ah, and she conceived and bore Yaqab a fifth son. La'ah said, "Elohim has given me my hire, because I gave my servant to my husband." She named him Yashakar. La'ah conceived again and bore a sixth son to Yaqab. La'ah said, "Elohim has endowed me with a good gift. Now my husband will live with me, because I have borne him 6 sons." She named him Zabulun. Afterward, she bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Elohim remembered Rachel, and Elohim listened to her and opened her womb. She conceived, bore a son, and said, "Elohim has taken away my reproach." She named him Yahuah, saying, "May Yahuah add another son to me." When Rachel had borne Yahuah, Yaqab said to Laban, "Send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know my service with which I have served you." Laban said to him, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, stay here, for I have learned by experience that Yahuah has blessed me for your sake." He said, "Appoint me my wages, and I will give it." Yaqab said to him, "You know how I have served you, and how your livestock has fared with me, for it was little which you had before I came, and it has increased abundantly. Yahuah has blessed you wherever I turned. Now, when will I provide for my own household also?" Laban said, "What shall I give you?" Yaqab said, "You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed your flock and keep it. I will pass through all your flock today, removing from it every speckled and spotted one, and every black one among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. This will be my hire, so my righteousness will answer for me hereafter when you come concerning my hire that is before you. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and black among the sheep, that is found with me, will be considered stolen." Laban said, "Behold, let it be according to your word." That day he removed the male goats that were streaked and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had white in it, and all the black ones among the sheep, and gave them into the hands of his sons. He set 3 days' journey between himself and Yaqab, and Yaqab fed the rest of Laban's flock. Yaqab took fresh rods of poplar, almond, and plane tree, peeled white streaks in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. He set the rods which he had peeled opposite the flocks, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink. They conceived when they came to drink. The flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks produced streaked, speckled, and spotted offspring. Yaqab separated the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the streaked and all the black in Laban's flock. He put his own droves apart and didn't put them in Laban's flock. Wherever the stronger of the flock conceived, Yaqab laid the rods in front of the eyes of the flocks in the troughs, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flock was feeble, he didn't put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger were Yaqab's. The man increased exceedingly and had large flocks, female servants and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Barashyth, Genesis chapter 31. Yaqab heard Laban's son saying, Yaqab has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. Yaqab noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then Yahuah said to Yaqab, go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. So Yaqab sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where the flocks were. He said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the Elohim of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked for your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, Elohim has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, the speckled ones will be your wages, then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, the streaked ones will be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked young. So Elohim has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. In the breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flocks were streaked, speckled, or spotted. The messenger of Elohim said to me in the dream, Yaqab. I answered, here I am. He said, look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flocks are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the all of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. Then Rachel and Leah replied, do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that Elohim took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever Elohim has told you. Then Yaqab put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Yitzchak in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household idols. Moreover, Yaqab deceived Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him that he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Farath River, and headed for the hill country of Gilad. On the third day, Laban was told that Yaqab had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Yaqab for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilad. But Elohim came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream at night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Yaqab, either good or bad. Yaqab had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilad when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Yaqab, what have you done? You deceived me and carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of tambourines and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you. But last night, the Elohim of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Yaqab, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you longed to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my idols? Yaqab answered Laban, I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your idols, that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me, and if so, take it. Now Yaqab did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols. So Laban went into Yaqab's tent, into Leah's tent, and the tent of the 2 female servants, but found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols and put them inside the camel's saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Don't be angry, my master, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I am having my period." So he searched, but could not find the household idols. Yaqab was angry and took Laban to task. "What is my crime?" he asked Laban. "What sin have I committed that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. It was like this for 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Yitzchak had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But Elohim has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Yaqab, "The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us." So Yaqab took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, "Gather some stones." So they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Yagar Sahadutha, and Yaqab called it Galad. Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." This is why it was called Galad. It was also called Matzvah, because he said, "May Yahuah keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that Elohim is a witness between you and me." Laban also said to Yaqab, "And here is the pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May the Elohim of Abraham and the Elohim of Nahor, the Elohim of their father, judge between us." So Yaqab took an oath in the name of the fear of his father, Yitzchak. He offered a slaughtering there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. Thank you for joining me to gather today's portion. May we continue seeking Yahuah through his word and growing in the knowledge of him one day at a time until Yahusha gathers us. Shalom.